You're listening to the Right Club podcast, where the focus is all about helping you grow your real estate investment portfolio and live the life you want to live. Come grow with us and join our community at therightclub.com. And now your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.
That's a great analogy. Absolutely love it. I mean, it's just like with the BRRRR strategy, a lot of people are waiting for that perfect BRRRR where they're pulling out all of their rental money, all their down payment. I mean, that's like, you know, a one-off, right? Here and there. A lot of the time you're just pulling back out and you're refinancing your reno and then a portion of your down payment. So if you look for that like hole in one or that like, you know, home run, it's going to be far and few between. How, like, you know, obviously you've done this for many years. Like, it's obviously, you know, you've got a great mindset, but how did you talk yourself through some of those times where it was super stressful? I mean, I know you said you're positive, but were there certain things that you did? Were there certain people that you've reached out to? Were there mentors that you had? You know, because I'm sure now, you know, your risk tolerance is probably a lot higher than many listeners that are on here listening, wondering, okay, what should I do with this downturn? I'm now on CERB. I've lost my job. You know, how did you get through all of those in addition to your positive mindset?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, and this will sound like I'm stroking your egos, and I'm not. Like, I don't play customer golf, and I don't say things I don't mean. You guys do a tremendous job leading by example in showing people how to do it by doing it yourself. Like, you're getting in a room and saying, hey, here's how we've done it. And here's some of the challenges we've had. Here's some of our failures and our mistakes. And here's some of our successes. And you're opening a door, you're building a bridge for other people to follow along. Now, why will 98% of people not cross that bridge? Is because they don't feel worthy of the success. It's almost like the way I felt about the old town hall. That's for somebody else, not for Harry James. I'm not worthy. People won't cross that bridge because they think, well, I'll be the one guy that does the deal and it's going to blow up and fail, and I'll be the only loser in this path. Or I'll be the one lady that does this deal and somehow somebody will be raising chinchillas in the basement and the place will have to be torn down and be condemned. Like, we constantly put our fears, and by you folks leading, you're giving them a bridge to get over those fears, but they still have to take the step. They still have to write the check. They still have to put in the offer. And fear for most people is going to hold them back. How I broke through that fear is exactly by listening to people like yourself back in the day. You know, I'm going to show you how old I am. I just had a birthday recently. I just turned 59. But there was a guy on TV in the 70s, Tom Vu, that used to talk about real estate and, you know how real estate was the great this and great that. And then there was somebody else that was, again, another real estate guy that used to do workshops. And while their methodology might have not been great, or maybe they were even just a bunch of scammers trying to get people into their seminars, the reality is that made me think bigger, maybe that was for me. And then, of course, like many of your listeners, the most important investment you make is the person in the mirror. So I've always been a reader. The Millionaire Mindset, Think and Grow Rich, The Meaning of Life, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, you name it. I read and reread hundreds of books. Why? To stretch my thinking, to break off that barrier, to face my fears, because that's the preparation that's necessary in order to fulfill whatever goals your listeners have. In other words, if they don't do the preparatory work for the person in the mirror, what you guys are talking about is just noise. And I don't say that with any disrespect, but it's true. If they're not prepared mentally, if they don't know why they're trying to do, for example, Sarah, you know you're doing it because you want lifestyle. You want to enjoy some things in life for you and your family that are important to you so you can experience things. Well, if your listeners haven't come up with that why, they're not going to have the fuel to overcome their fear. You see, the problem needs to be bigger than a solution. So in other words, the problem, if somebody's discontent with their life and real estate becomes the way of remedying that, then that problem needs to be magnified so they will break through the fear and make the decisions, as uncomfortable as they may be, to make real estate part of the solution for their unhappy financial journey. So I think it's really important that you invest in the person in the mirror, and the thing again that you guys do incredibly well is you've got to rub shoulders with like-minded people. How I'll ask you both right now, how difficult would it be for you to find some negative people right now? Maybe
Oh my gosh. You can
what's it
find
called?
them
A
everywhere.
picosecond? Like
Yeah.
like negativity is just
Everywhere, unfortunately.
now.
Yeah.
So rubbing shoulders with like-minded people. And I love being the small fish in the big pond. I get so excited when I see people's success. Like I love it. I don't have any envy at all. It just fuels me, inspires me. So if you guys told me you had $1 billion worth of real estate, all I want to know is how you did it.
Yeah.
What was your favorite deal? What was your biggest mistake? Because that inspires me. And the more you dig, the more you are truly interested in human development and your own personal growth, the amount of information that people that truly want to help you, I mean, my goodness, they're everywhere. But if you want to be with the, hey, I hate my life, wake up on Monday, exist till Friday, just, have some fun 2 days a week, and then believe that your lot in life is all you've got and the best is behind and the worst is ahead, and you just want to roll over and kind of decline and die. That's unfortunate, but that's not the kind of people that I want to choose to be around.
Yeah, and that's why we're so lucky to have amazing people in our community, in our network, such as yourself, Harry, that have done it. And it's close to 40 years that you have been doing it, and within even your own real estate life, within your own personal life, inspiring others, being inspired by others, right? And having that energy around there. And I feel the same way. And I know I speak with Sarah, that when we see people in our community that they just came to their first event, a year ago or 2 years ago, or just got into real estate, and now they got their first deal and they're excited to do that next. We're always there to say, hey, the problems, the issues, they're always going to come. And I love how you said that is building yourself strong enough to overcome those obstacles. And there's something that I always live by, like, you only fail once you quit. If you never quit, you never fail. You have to keep going and learning from all those things that you're doing. So maybe for that investor, he or she that's listening to this podcast, they're on the trail. They've read a few books. They've drank the Kool-Aid per se, and say, yeah, this is the way I am going to do it. I want to go get that first deal. There's a lot of information out there. So maybe what's something tangible that investor or that person can do, like today, that they can go out there and do today, and whether it's learn from somebody, whether it's grab another book. I don't know. What's something that you would advise them? If I'm sitting in front of you at your office and saying, hey, I got started. I believe in this real estate. I read that book. What can I do now? What can I do to put into play?
That's a great question, Alfonso. I'll answer by saying this. I've had the privilege, in some of the speaking I've done over the years, and some of the businesses that I've built, and some of the businesses that I've frankly failed at miserably, I've learned a lot. And as a result of that, people have come to me and seeking advice, and I've taken on a handful of coaching clients. And I hate the word coach, because anybody with a pulse is a coach these days, but that's the only word I can come up with. It fascinates me. I think I've said this before. Somebody will hire a life coach, but they won't say to them, so what have you done? What's your net worth? They're just going, hey, you're my life coach. Okay. But I think when I've had the opportunity to coach people, I've said, and they get mad at me, I'll say, there's a very good chance this is going to be a waste of your time, and you're not going to do what I ask you to do. And they get, well, what do you mean by that? I say, because I'm going to ask you to do some things that are really uncomfortable. And what really matters the most is from the moment you leave my office until you come back next week at this time. It's all the stuff you do from the moment you walk out of my office that is going to have an impact on whether you do or don't achieve either improving your financial life or your balance or your all the things that are important to you. So, in that context, the most important thing I can tell your viewers is this, or your listeners is this: please take the time to be mentally prepared for success, whatever your definition of success is. If you do not get mentally prepared for success, if you don't feel worthy of the level of success that you are pursuing, you will sabotage it subconsciously on a regular basis. You will revert to the average. You revert to your comfort zone. Most people want to blend in with a wallpaper. So if you're looking to do something that's extraordinary, outside the norm, outside of what you've lived your life to this point, you've got to be prepared to be uncomfortable and do it the most when you feel like it the least. Once you're mentally prepared, then you have to get to the work of developing a philosophy. As I said earlier, you need to have a philosophy and a vision and a set of criteria. Buying real estate is easy. That's not investing. That's called a transaction. Anybody with a pulse can up in the back of a real estate agent's car and buy a property. That's not investing. Investing is where do I want to go? What do I want my net worth to be? What do I want my future cash flow to be? And it's about developing a strategy and a plan that fits your personality. Maybe you love recreational properties. Maybe you love multi-residential. Maybe you like the idea of industrial. Maybe you've got an idea for flea markets. It doesn't matter what it is. The sky's the limit. But you need to take the time to figure it out is, what do you want to do? What markets are exciting for you? What regions are exciting for you? You need to do the homework. Because once you do the homework, what you have is a set of criteria. The reason that a lot of people can't make decisions, Alfonso, is they have no set of criteria. They don't have a frame of reference by which to make those decisions. When I went to look at 4 properties on Wednesday, I know my criteria. I could tell you in 15 seconds the minute I pull up whether that property meets my criteria or not. It's a business. Real estate investing is a business. You know what I don't like about this market right now is there's no relief for landlords. So I think they're dealing with landlords like we're 300 years ago, where we've got billions of dollars and we own all the land and we have no mortgages. Today, real estate's a business. There's something called cap rates, and you have to figure out what cap rate is if you're doing commercial, it works for you, what residential cash flow works for you, what you can borrow, what you can't borrow, and so on. But here's the key thing with real estate that I think is, and I've repeated this and I'll repeat it again and again, it's perseverance and time.
Thanks for listening to the Reite Club podcast and joining our community of real estate investors online at thereiteclub.com, where the focus is about helping you grow. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks from your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.